Hello, my friends, and happy spring. My name is Michelle Fondin. I'm the author of The Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda, an easy guide to a healthy lifestyle, and I'm here for you with Ayurveda answers. And today we're going to talk about Kapha, K-A-P-H-A, which is one of the main doshas. In the last video, I spoke about it being Kapha season in the northern hemisphere. So I thought I'd go backward a little bit and explain to you what is Kapha, K-A-P-H-A. So Kapha is composed of the two elements of water and earth. Now, if you think about the two qualities of water and earth, and I'd like you to think of earth as like dirt. So think of it as, digging your hands deep into the dirt. It's something very heavy, something grounded. Now, if you take some dirt and you mix it in with water, then what do you get? 3, 2, 1, mud, right? So think about the qualities of mud. Mud is very heavy, it's viscous, it's thick, it's gloppy, it's wet, it's dense, it's very dense, right? So if you've ever watched a little kid at play at the beach and they pick up a bucket of sand to make a sandcastle, and then they fill that bucket with the sand with water, and then if you've ever watched a little kid walk from the seashore back to the place where he was building the sandcastle, and you notice that the bucket is much heavier, so they have a harder time. So you often see these little kids like trying to drag the bucket with the mud back to their sandcastle area. So the qualities of Kapha, a person who possesses Kapha, or even Kapha in the atmosphere, you want to think of something as heavy and wet. So a person that has the type of a Kapha type, they're going to be much larger. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean they have to be fat. Many Kaphas complain of having excess weight. They can either have excess water weight gain or excess fat in the body. Their bodily structure just tends to be a little bit thicker, a little bit bigger. So they are bigger boned, maybe broader shoulders, a nice rounded face, maybe a bigger head all around. They have more fat underneath their skin. Their skin actually looks very healthy and beautiful and vibrant. They have great complexions usually. Kapha types are not the ones to get the wrinkles, which those of us that are Vata types get very jealous of because we have thinner skin as a Vata type. They tend to put on excess weight though. So they enjoy sweets, they enjoy being sedentary, and it's not a bad kind of sedentary, they're just very content where they are. So they tend to move slow, even when walking, they tend to saunter versus walking, and they tend to be at the back of the pack if there's a group of people walking, but they really enjoy life. They like things to stay the same, they like their patterns, they like their routine. They even like their homes to stay the same. They don't like things ruffled too much. Kapha types are very loving, trustworthy, kind, compassionate, open. They're receivers. They like to receive love from others, and they like to receive just that relationship. And so they're really into the relationship, and they're trustworthy, and they're grounded, and they're loyal to their relationships. And so Kapha types consequently make very good listeners. So they tend to be great at listening because they're really not moving anywhere. They're also very compassionate and loving. They're affectionate. They like to give big warm hugs, and think of that grandmother in the kitchen baking the cookies, and when you were a little kid, that grandmother just holding you in her bosom and just making everything feel okay. All of your problems just kind of dissipate away in the midst of a Kapha type. They really don't tend to complain much. Now, when a Kapha type tends to get out of balance, however, this can be challenging for a Kapha type because they do tend to put on excess weight, water, weight gain. They tend to get depressed. Now, one of the reasons is because they have a hard time expressing their feelings. They tend to be, like I said, recipients. They're receiving from others, so they tend to take it all in, and they can accumulate a lot. And so by the time they become depressed, they really haven't expressed their emotions freely. They've kind of just held it all inside. And they tend to become possessive or greedy in a relationship. And again, because they give a lot in the relationship in the way of being great listeners, being affectionate, being loving, they tend not to be good at expressing themselves to be able to receive back in a nurturing way that they really need. And so they tend to become possessive in a relationship. So they'll hold on tightly to a relationship. They'll also hold on tightly to possessions. So they will tend to hoard things or hold on to memories in the way of material items and material goods. They might want to collect things, collecting little gadgets and things. And so they really tend to have too much stuff in their homes when they become out of balance. And so similarly, in a Kapha type season, you're going to have those similar qualities of Kapha. So you might have a lot of rainfall in one region of the United States. We are in the northern hemisphere here, but even in your country, you might have a lot of rainfall. It might be wet. The ground is wet. It's never dry during this season. Also, because of that moisture in the air, molds are growing, pollen is present, all these things are happening, and so people tend to get allergies, which is a Kapha quality. So people that have a lot of Kapha in their mind-body type are going to have a tendency to get more allergies at this time. Kapha also, because it's from the earth, it is a colder dosha, meaning that Kapha types, they're going to be a little bit on the cooler side if you touch their skin. And so it's really important for a Kapha type to stay warm. Now, a really effective way for a Kapha to stay warm, especially in the spring season, when Kapha is really mounting at its height, and a person who has Kapha needs to lower the amount of Kapha, not exacerbate it. So we really don't need more of what we already have. So one way to do this is getting a Kapha type moving. You really want to get them out walking, get them swimming, get them in, movement positions that feels comfortable for them. But a little more rigorous type of activity is really recommended for a Kapha type. Now, I'm not one to recommend hot yoga. I don't believe in hot yoga. I don't believe that it's the most gentle and nurturing to the soul. However, there is one exception. For somebody who has a big Kapha aggravation, meaning there's just too much Kapha in their mind-body type, hot yoga can be beneficial to a Kapha type person. Now, the challenging part is, how do you get a Kapha type off the couch and moving? It's going to take a very motivated type of person to get that Kapha moving. If you are a Kapha type, the counterbalance to excess Kapha is movement. So you really need to get yourself moving. A little bit of caffeine won't hurt, especially if you're feeling that sluggishness, that drowsiness, if you feel that you're sleeping just way too much, if you're oversleeping. Kapha types tend to get around 8 hours to 9 hours of sleep a night. If you find you're exceeding 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night, or if you find yourself napping during the day, it's really beneficial to get out and move, and then start eating lighter. Kaphas can also do well with eating only 2 meals per day. So I would say a mid-morning meal, and maybe, about 10 o'clock, and then maybe eating another meal around 5 o'clock. And usually, especially during a Kapha type season, Kaphas tend to do very well on just eating a couple of really well-balanced big meals in a day. And if you're truly a Kapha, you understand this. If you're not a Kapha type, you're probably going, what? I don't get this. But I've counseled in my practice many people who are Kapha types, and they tell me, quite frankly, they just don't get hungry. They forget to eat, and oftentimes they're not eating enough calorie-wise within their meals, and so that slows their metabolism down even more. So you want to keep a Kapha type balanced through eating full, all 6 taste meals that I speak about in the Wheel of Healing with Ayurveda. Following that Ayurvedic type diet for a Kapha type is really going to be helpful. But get out and move. Really enjoy the fresh air. Take a class on being able to express yourself, either through writing, through speaking, something that's going to get those emotions moving out as well. You want to be able to have those emotions moving outward if you're starting to feel blue, if you're starting to feel depressed, especially during this season. Another thing that is helpful are moving meditation. So meditation is wonderful for everybody across the board, but for a Kapha type, a moving, walking meditation is really helpful. So either getting a CD or a tape or a tape, I can't believe I just said that, that's really strange. Okay, going back to the 80s, getting a CD or an MP3 file that's going to motivate you into a moving meditation. There are many guided meditations that can help you do this. So you could just, put it on your iPhone or whatever, your Android, and put your headphones in and just start walking. And you can have this guided walking meditation that might have a little bit of more upbeat music in the background, really to help you get moving. But walking meditations are wonderful for Kapha types. So I hope you're enlightened learning a little bit more about Kapha. Also, please email me your Ayurveda questions, your questions about Ayurveda to michellefondinauthor@gmail.com, and I most definitely will answer your questions about Ayurveda in these YouTube videos. Thanks so much. Namaste.